Are you really getting into your food this morning? Really? Her udder's already quite well developed in here. We also have the philosophy of never having an empty feed trough. I think people think we have pampered sheep. I think it's just proper sheep care. Morning, I'm Lynn, and welcome to a bright and sunny but cold day at Ewetopia Farms. Hi, Scotty. There you go. We won't let Tommy come get you, okay? Hi, Tommy. You leave Scotty alone. Scotty has his spot, you have yours. Stop looking at him. Yeah, you pretend to be nice, but you're not very nice to Scotty. No, you have your own food. Hi. Hi, that's a good boy. He's watching Scotty, who's over here, because he wants to dominate the whole barn. Buddy doesn't have this worry anymore because Buddy comes to the house and lays on the sofa or the chair or on top of the fireplace, and he eats his food in there. So he has no competition. He's living in the lap of luxury. Same routine. We give everybody an eyeball. Make sure everyone's looking good. This is the time of year when things will start to go wrong because they're all pregnant. And that's when you have the most problems. But they're all eating here. All look good in here. Waters are cleaned out, and the salt and mineral, we make sure it's always topped up and ready for them to eat whenever they need it. And same with all these guys in here. Hi, everybody. All looking good in here as well. We got one laying here, not at the trough, but she's chewing her cud. So she's fine. As long as they're chewing their cud. If they're not, then you have to question it a little bit. Like I see one over here laying down as well. You gotta realize they're pregnant now. So sometimes they're just heavy and lamb and they don't, they just want to rest quicker. Like I say, she's chewing her cud. She's of no concern. But I will have a look at the one over here. Hi. They've all got a fresh bale of hay, so. Are you okay, honey? Yeah, she's looking pretty bright, like what? I'm trying to rest. Are you going to come in and bother me? So I'm assuming she's okay because she's on guard because I'm watching her. She knows it. Okay. So they're all okay in here. Is that good? Are you really getting into your food this morning? Or is this a new fashion thing? Hey, girls? You are funny. And, you know, you think sheep are smart, and then you have one who decides it might be easier to eat at the trough if I go under another ewe. Like, knocks her right off her feet. You do have to wonder sometimes. This is the group that stewed a lamb first. This is Knockout's group. I don't see any udders here yet. And they're still over a month away. But still, you would expect maybe a few more udders starting to show. Hi, Knockout. I had to get out of there because he was coming over, and I don't trust him these days. He's a little bored and thinks he can maybe be a little too demanding. But I might have spoke too soon. This girl here has a really well-developed udder. She's one of the biggest in this group. And as I say in all my videos, when you want to show something, always someone else comes and blocks the person, the sheep in view. But you can see her udder's already quite well developed in here. Hopefully it's not a sign that she's going to have a really huge udder. Right now the udder's looking good. We like the nipples at that angle. They kind of tilt down, but they're to the side. Real easy for the lambs to find those nipples. But as you can see, compared to the others, she's a big girl. But I would say she's going to be probably the first to lamb. But it's always interesting to see if that's the case, because some of them develop their udders quite a ways in advance, and others a week before they start developing their udder. So they're all different in that way. But in general, when you see the udders developing, you can pretty well count on they're the first ones that are going to lamb. Anyone else over here looking suspicious? I do see udders here. This girl's got one. And this one here, it's got a small one coming on there too. You're looking pretty chunky. Oh, it's going to be upon us before we know it. Gladiator's group went in just over a week later, and I see she's developing an udder. This girl is too. Well, actually I see a few small ones, but definitely little udders forming there. Always a good sign. Hi. Oh, you're limping a bit, sweetheart. What happened? What did you do? What happened, Heather? Did you get a little limp? Oh, you're a good girl. What are you going to have for lammies this year? I think her first year she had triplets, and then last year she had a single. We find that happens quite a bit. If they have a triplet one year and raise them all, they tend to have less the following year. Yeah, I think she's got a little udder going there too. She's getting a drink right now. But definitely a little udder there as well. That's what we really want to see. Hi girl, you're looking good. I'm actually seeing quite a few. So you always worry that the ram maybe didn't breed, but I'm seeing a lot of little udders in Gladiator's group. And he's one of our older rams, so we were considering swapping him out. We might put someone in for one cycle just to be sure. But to me it looks like these are pregnant girls. So everyone in the main barn, they were all put in within 2 weeks of each other. We usually don't expect a lot to lamb the very first time because we put the rams in pretty out of season. So we find it takes that first 17 days. They act kind of more like a teaser at that point, stimulating the ewes to ovulate, and it's that second cycle where they start catching. But usually there is enough that do lamb out of season in that first little group, that it will take the pressure off the amount of sheep lambing in the second group. So that's why we leave our sheep in a bit longer than some people, because we do put the rams in early. We are not cedering, and we just want to make sure that everyone catches. But in here as well, you can see that there are definitely udders forming here. And this is Sheriff's group in here. These guys went in a little bit earlier than Hamish's group. These guys actually went in the same time as Gladiator's group. And yeah, I can see udders forming in this group as well. There we go. She has an udder. Here we got another one here. Still early to be doing this. We used to scan our sheep. I think scanning is a great tool for if you want to foster lambs on, because you know who's having multiples and who isn't. And if we had the space to put sheep in different areas, depending on whether they had singles, twins, or triplets, it would be handy too. But we stopped scanning. We just became complacent because most of the sheep were bred, so it wasn't an issue really of open sheep. And as for feeding them, we really don't have the facilities to feed them all differently in different locations. And luckily we average twins anyway, so it's only the outliers that would be singles or triplets. So we don't really run into problems with pregnancy toxemia and issues like that, or undernourished or overnourished sheep. We watch conditions carefully, and because they're mostly carrying twins, it's just easier to feed them as if they were having twins. And we also have the philosophy of never having an empty feed trough. So grain gets monitored. We feed grain twice a day, and we feed, depending on the breed, Dorsets get less grain because they tend to get laminitis and get fat quickly, whereas the Suffolks don't. So the Suffolks will be getting about a pound of grain in the morning and night. The Dorsets, less than that. And all the groups always have hay in the feeder, so they can eat as much as they need. We find that just stops them from gorging, and if you have an empty trough, they will tend to gorge, and then we find they get into, choking problems, overeating problems, stomach problems. This way, nobody's ever starving, although when we go into the coveralls, sometimes it would appear that way. But they're all pretty good that way. What's on the agenda for today?
I don't know then.
I thought you weren't here. I thought I saw you leave. I thought you took the tractor and maybe went to get the manure spreader or something.
No, I can pick it up today, they said. I'm going to pick it up today to get ready for tomorrow.
So tomorrow's a manure spreading day?
Probably, yeah.
Good morning, Pampered sheep. I heard so many people on YouTube talking about not wanting pampered sheep. And I think people think we have pampered sheep, and maybe they are, but are they pampered because you feed them indoors and give them the option to go in or out? I don't really think that's pampered. I think that's taking care of them. And talking to them really doesn't make them any more pampered. It just gets a nice rapport going. But they're healthy, they're clean, and they don't have worms, and we're not constantly deworming them and giving them shots for their hooves and stuff. So I think it's just proper sheep care. I don't really think it's pampering. But they're definitely pampered compared to sheep who don't have options, who have to stay out in the rain or the snow or the floods or whatever's going on. Ours always do have that option to come in or to go out. And I will admit that if the weather's bad, they come in. I totally don't blame them. These girls are happy now. They're getting their grain. And then, like I say, we always leave the hay trough full or with hay in it, not necessarily full, but we don't leave it bare and empty. And so right now the grass is really mucky and wet and has poor nutritional value right now. It's the fall after all. So they'll go out for exercise and they'll nibble a bit, but the majority of their feed is coming from the troughs right now. But because they're eating that mucky grass, I don't know if you watch any other YouTube videos where they're out on pasture and they're dealing with really dirty bums at this time of year. Not necessarily from worms, but from just the poor quality of the grass. It's very moisture laden, which causes diarrhea and makes a mess of the sheep. So that's why at this time of year we also like to have the dry hay in here for them so that they can go eat that mucky stuff in the pasture. But because they've got a mixture of the dry hay as well, you'll see we don't have any mucky bums in here. The mucky bums we have are from worms, and we'll be deworming them shortly. Like I say, when we have a killing frost, nobody's in ill health or losing condition or terribly full of diarrhea. I'll go along the feeder to show you. Worming causes resistance, so what we really want is for the ewes to do well and not be constantly needing dewormer. If we did have a dirty bum, and most of them are clean as you can see, but this one here I see that she had a dirty bum and is dried up. So if somebody has a really obviously dirty bum, we will just spot deworm like we did yesterday with the ram lambs. And that way we're only treating those who are symptomatic and letting the ones that aren't deal with it on their own. But you see, because they're eating the hay, we have pretty well no dirty bums in here. Are they pampered? Nah, they're just well cared for. Hi. And they appreciate it. Do we have pampered sheep? Are they pampered or are they just well cared for?
Well, a lot easier to work with a pampered sheep than a wild one.
Well, but pampered I think means spoiled. And I don't think there's anything spoiled about making sure your sheep are well looked after. And the petting and friendliness of them is just a little bonus. Because we have breeding stock and we are in confinement a lot of months of the year because of the weather conditions in Canada. We're obviously not grazing in the middle of winter. There is no grazing in the middle of winter. So the sheep get to know us more than if they were like on the back 1,000 acres and we never saw them all the time.
Probably a little bit of parasites there.
Yeah, she would need it. She would need a deworming.
I mean, I wouldn't press it too hard yet.
No, this one for sure looks wet, but that one over there, you can see we treated her as well. See, that one moved in front of her every time I talk about a sheep. There it is. But you can see by the manure on her bum that it's dried up. The doors are going open. So here goes our pampered sheep off to pasture. There really is nothing out there. We just let them out because I think the sunshine is good for them, and especially in the winter, like, it's been depressing here. Just practically no sun. And today's a nice sunny day. So I think that's good for them. I think the exercise is great for them as well. And yeah, if they can get some fresh feed in there, it's a bonus. Usually it ends up being more parasites than bonus, but it's something we don't really want to give up. We don't like pasture grazing too much because of the parasite issues, but we do like to see them out there. So we continue on with it, and I'm sure we always will. I can't see having confinement year-round. But Diva, she has to... and she's not a pampered sheep. She's just a tame sheep. And it's funny because we call all these pets, basically, even though they're breeding stock sheep. But pets in other countries mean that they're bottle babies. So I definitely want to make sure people understand that this isn't a group of bottle baby sheep, because they're not. Pet in this country means that they're a friendly sheep that you can pet like a dog and stuff. We just refer to our bottle babies as bottle babies. So that's another day at Ewetopia Farms with our pampered sheep, who are not really that pampered. They're just friendly. Hope you enjoyed your time with us, and I hope you'll join us again next time for the next episode at Ewetopia Farms. And I know I said I was going to do videos every other day instead, but it has made zero difference to people watching the videos. And I've had so many comments from people really wanting me to post every day. And I'm in the barn every day anyway, so I figured, whatever. I'm going to start posting when I have videos available. Otherwise, they start bunging up on me. And then it's hard for me to remember what day I'm on and stuff. So back to every day again. Unless I can't get a video up, but I will do my best to get them up, and I hope that makes you happy. So, bye for now.